Do you know who that is?
I don't.
Okay, so Ryan Trahan is a YouTuber and he's been getting a ton of views. He basically was doing a fundraiser where he would travel to every single state. And at the end of this, I think he raised a couple $100,000, maybe even over $1 million. I could be wrong there. But this bike company got really smart. So this bike company reached out to him and said, hey, we're going to give you like 10 grand or 50 grand or something like that, right? And then that bike company showed up in one of his videos the next day. They wanted to give him an electric bike. They said, every day that you ride this bike and it's in your videos, we're going to give you an extra 10 grand. So I think that maybe they gave 50 grand initially and then it's like 10 grand each time, right? And they knew he had 50 more videos to make. And he kept riding that bike as like an electric bike. And what happened was these videos were getting some of them 50 million views or whatever.
Wow.
A lot of views, right? And so I think what happened at his company was that they exploded their revenue. And I don't have exact numbers here, but if you are smart and you know if someone's going to do this trip and you know you can smartly insert yourself in and then almost incentivize this influencer, you're getting a ton of ad impressions for your product all the time. And people start to associate, oh, like I need an electric bike. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go with that one. So that's what they did. And I think you have to be lucky in this case, right? You have to be opportunistic to get your product in there at the right time, and then be smart about how you incentivize this influencer, because this influencer is trying to raise money. Okay, we'll give you 10 grand each time in every video. Who else is doing that? Not enough people are doing that.
Yeah, I've seen some of them on Instagram, but companies don't seize the opportunity. And I think it would be wise for them. For example, I saw a gentleman who is overweight, and he was saying for every 1,000 followers, he'll walk a mile. It was something like that. So his follower count started going up. I started liking his content, and I was like, good for you. And he's starting to lose weight. And this is early on in the journey where I've seen it. Fast forward to now, it's probably been 7-8 months later. He's lost a lot of weight, but a company should have went and sponsored it, like a Subway or a healthy food company, or it could be anything, right? That is just all about like health and wellness, maybe a nutrition company. And I think they would have done very well.
Dude, if Chipotle sponsored Ryan Trahan, every day we're going to feed you Chipotle, or even Sweet Green, right? Hey, you know, you're going to travel to every single state. You're going to try to make a video. We need you to eat healthy too, to be a beacon of like a role model to Americans, right? All over the world. So
you saw their stock today, right? Sweet Green, they just tanked.
Did they?
26%.
Why did they tank?
Earnings.
Oh, wow. That must mean
Sweet Green shares dropped 25% after salad chain cuts outlook for the second time in 2 quarters. I wasn't laughing at him. I was trying to hold in a cough. But yeah, it kind of sucks. But the market's hard right now.
Do you know do you know what RPI means?
Revenue per...
the first thing you think about is revenue. Okay, so it's Restaurant Performance Index. So
Restaurant Performance Index.
So
okay.
One of our I don't know if you ever met George. I think you probably met George Gammon, but he actually watches this. He's great with macroeconomics, right? He has a YouTube channel. So I was watching one of his videos yesterday, and he talks about, like, sure, you look at inflation data, you look at job reports data, but all that can be manipulated pretty easily by the government, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at Restaurant Performance Index, you can see when there's weakness. Like every time it drops below a certain amount, a recession happens, right? And because that shows like how weak the consumer is. If they're not going out to eat that much, and Sweet Green dropping, and I go to Sweet Green, like I just had it yesterday. That means the consumer is backing off a little bit. And so it's actually negative 0.1 right now or something like that. So it's worth looking at that. And Warren Buffett likes looking at the railroad data, right? Like if you have less railroads kind of, transferring stuff, that's also weakness in the economy. So I don't know how that looks right now, but it's worth taking a look at, because who knows how we're doing right now.
I have no idea if the economy is getting worse or better. I just know for our company, the last few months, we're starting to see signals, and I shared some of that data earlier in the podcast. And I want people to keep one thing in mind. Forget railroads, forget restaurant indexes. When things get bad, what's the first thing that gets cut?
Your what do you call it? The disposable spending.
No, when things get bad for corporations, what's the first thing?
Marketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when things start looking better, what's the first thing they add back?
Marketing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because it's the easiest thing to adjust. If you already have inventory and you're sending stuff on a train, that's booked in advance. Marketing spend, you can just turn up and down like a knob.
But
that's what they do.
But hey, Meta and Google continue to do good.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you look at his videos over here, like each one of these is like 2.4 million, 3.2 million, 2.7 million. And you can see the bike over here.
I've never seen this guy.
So he did a collab with Mr. Beast, where he traveled the U.S. He's like, I'm going to try to survive on 1 penny. And he made it happen. At the very end of it, Mr. Beast appeared in the video and they gave him like a giant penny or something like that. But
So how do you survive with it's like the guy who traded a red paper clip for a house or something like that?
I think he traded a penny to somebody else and got like $1 and he kept like compounding it. And then, it became something he can survive on. I think that's how it worked. Yeah.
But no, you saw the red paper clip, right?
No.
That was back in the day.
No.
Red paper clip.
When's back in the day? This guy's really young, so.
It's called One Red Paper Clip. One Red Paper Clip is a website by Canadian blogger Kyle McDonald, who traded his way from a single red paper clip to a house in a series of 14 online trades over a course of a year.
Dude, that's like a wide TAM idea, right? These are wide TAM ideas. So you look at how many days can I double $1, and that one got 18 million views. And I tested 1-star hotels, 15 million views. I visited 50 states in 50 days, 10 million views, right? And then you can see it starts with a lot of views and it kind of tapers off over time. But
yeah,
it just goes to show you like the idea matters a lot. And I was talking to my brand team about this recently. I was like, guys, like if there's one thing I can impact right now, what do you think it is that's going to impact it? It's like everyone's giving all these answers. I was like, guys, it's just the idea. And I haven't spent enough time on ideation and I haven't spent enough time on approvals, right? I kind of just let things go. And so I'm like, if we want to do better here, I'm going to spend more time on ideation. I'm going to be a bottleneck. I'm going to help with approvals, but there's also design approvals as well. There's also the writing of the content. There's actually a lot that goes into the funnel of this stuff. And what we just talked about, sometimes you just have to focus on what works well, and then you kind of have to ignore the other stuff. And for example, when you post to LinkedIn, you're not thinking about, oh, how does the LinkedIn algorithm work? You're just reposting stuff, right?
Yeah.
So largely, you should just focus on one channel that works well, and the other ones you're okay maybe letting it slide a little bit. So.
Yes, but Eric's not saying ignore the other channels and not leverage them. He's saying use the other channels, but you may not get as good of results, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Depending on your business and the ROI for some of those channels. If a channel is extremely powerful and you can generate a lot of profit from it, you don't want to let those slide. But if some of those are secondary channels where you know you're not going to drive as much revenue, it's okay. But speaking of focus, dude, I've been focusing on redoing our site.
Oh, that's like the third or fourth time you've changed it in the last.
Yeah, so I changed it to, we make sure, it hasn't launched yet. We make sure customers find you everywhere from Google to ChatGPT. And the subtext is, we help you show up everywhere customers are searching.
That's a good headline.
Yeah, and the sub headline is better. We help you show up everywhere customers are searching, swiping, scrolling, streaming, and shopping.
That's good. Who came up with that?
Colin from my team. It was already on our website.
Copywriter?
No. He's a marketer. He's
that's
a really good marketer.
That's really good for both of them.
The headline was 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗨𝗧 from 𝗖𝗛𝗔𝗕𝗓𝗧. I think he's the one who came up with the headline.
Yeah.
It was a variation of mine.
Yeah. See, that's another thing with your relationship with 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗧. Sometimes it's not sometimes, all the time. This is why it's good to network. This is why it's good to make relationships, because that thing you just get on a call. It's okay. You don't have to pay anything for that.
Dude, no.
And then you're going to refer, refer customers to him too.
I refer customers because his work is good and he's made me millions of dollars.
Yep.
That's the real reason I refer, because if I refer him and he does shit work, then
it makes you look bad. Yeah,
it makes me look bad. But we were planning on redoing our site, and I'm like, man, I don't like our site. It has too much messaging. It has stuff about our values. I'm like, no one cares about this. No one cares for careers on our homepage. I want to tidy this up, and I want to do CRO or optimize for conversions and not just how it looks. So I was talking with my team, and the way this idea came about is I had this idea, and one of 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗪's former employees hit me up like a month or two prior, and he was looking for a job. And we couldn't come to alignment on salary. This person was based in India, and I'm like, I cannot pay someone in India these kind of wages. I'm like, this is more than what I would pay someone for this job in America. They're great at what they do. I just didn't want to pay it. Yeah. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That was just the reality.
Yeah.
So then I called 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗪, and I was like, dude, I want to redo the homepage. I'm looking for someone cheap who can do it because I don't want to do it myself. And I really just did not want to do it. And 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗪's like, dude, you already know what you want, right? And I'm like, yeah, I already know what I want. And I break down to him like, this is exactly what I want. And I give him 6 numbers, and I put them in order on how I want to change it. And I already had a lot of the copy written. I myself am not a designer, but I didn't want to pull my designers from my 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗪𝗓 project. We're releasing all the AI stuff to go help with this. And 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗪's like, dude, why don't I just do it for you? I'll just do it for free. I have a ton of staff. I was like, thanks, it sounds good. So then he turned my idea into vision. He also added his own flair. And what was unique about him is he scrapes the internet for every single A/B test. No joke. Literally every single A/B test. So if you have A/B testing code on your website, he's looking at what tests you're running and which one ended up becoming the default.
So he knows what wins and what doesn't.
What does.
Yeah.
So when he took my copy, took my ideas, added in some of his own elements, showcased the homepage, and he's like, here's how many times we run a similar test, here's how many times it's won, and here's the average conversion lift that you should expect before we even run it.
Wow.
And I'm like, we're not going to run a test. He's like, you don't want to run an A/B test? He's like, you're a conversion guy, Neil. You wouldn't want to run an A/B test? I'm like, no, I don't like my current website. I'm not optimizing for leads. I'm actually optimizing for RFPs. Because if you look at how many RFPs we get on a monthly basis, it's not enough volume to run an A/B test. And I'm changing things like, one thing 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗧 has to do is, right where it says top right, hire us, the button, he'll add a button that says RFPs.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean someone's going to add us to RFP because of it.
Yeah.
It's more so when people visit the website, they'll know that we deal with RFPs and maybe in the future we'll include it in more.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it just goes down to what you're talking about, like focus and just getting in. And I'm like, I want this done. And I was a little bit lazy because I don't have design skills and I didn't want to use AI to design it for me. So he helped me out. Plus he came up with a lot of good ideas.
Dude, even if you get a couple more RFPs a year from that, it's worth it, right? And the other thing is, 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗧 doing this, it's one, we're talking about on this podcast. Hopefully it gets, another couple leads or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is you'll remember that. Like, especially if you drive a lot more RFPs, there's no way you're not going to remember that. And the first person that's going to come to mind is him, right? Because marketing, especially with marketing services, just business in general, it is whoever comes to mind, top of mind first, because 99% of people are never in market or not in market to buy right now.
Yes.
But it changes. You just have to be top of mind. This is why you spend the 50 grand a month on these ads, right? You just got to be top of mind. So.
But no, the cool part about me doing the home pages is I have my own opinions on what's going to convert the best, and my team does. But I love the approach. We scrape the whole internet in B2B, and here are all the tests that won.
Yeah.
Here's what's most likely to win for you for a service-based company. I'm like, sounds good. Give it to me.
By the way, like that, if you want to stand out, especially in this world now, you have to go the extra mile. And he's going a couple extra miles to do that and to have that data. That stands out versus the vast majority of CRO companies. Remember that CRO company you were trying to buy? I'm pretty sure they're not doing something like this.
No, but I tried to buy his company first.
Oh, you did? Yeah, but I'm talking about the one I introduced you.
Yeah, that one didn't work out.
Yeah.
Then my other buddy, Sean, introduced me to another CRO company based in Canada. They didn't want to sell either.
Yep.
But 0 out of 3. And then 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗧's company now is too big for me to buy.
Yeah. So they do well. And that's all they focus on.
Dude, he's grown like a hockey stick over the last few years.
And they just focus on CRO. That's it.
Only CRO.
Yeah.
He won't do other service lines and get into other stuff. He's like, this works. I can build a...
But he gets paid on outcomes too. It's base fee and outcome.
If you're in B2B, here's the deal. LinkedIn account-based marketing sucks, but it doesn't have to. With Carrot, it allows you to create personalized ads towards your customers and also personalized landing pages that align with the ads, so you're gonna have higher conversions, and influence pipeline reporting to prove that your ABM works. So if you want to learn more, just go to carrot.ai and you can join the waitlist. Again, it's carrot, KARROT.ai, and we'll see you on the other side.
No, it depends. A lot of it is just outcome.
Outcome based, yeah. So when you, by the way,
there's no, I'm saying no base fee.
There's
pure
no base,
outcome.
Yeah. I forgot. He kind of explained it to me, and I don't want to reveal his pricing structure to everyone, but like when you charge on performance, you do well. You like a center field, right?
Yeah.
So
it makes one. No, and I'll be honest. He may hate me for saying this, but I'll be transparent. You can call him and find out yourself. The 3 models. You charge monthly retainer, which you and I do, and he has that model as well. The other model is you can do a smaller fee monthly, and then a percentage of the lift. And then the third model is pure percentage of the lift. And he'll collect a tail for that too. That model is the most lucrative. I love that model. We can't get large companies to sign off on that model.
It's too risky for them.
Too risky. It's not projected out in their numbers. They don't like it. They rather just say, we're paying you a fee and this is it. And if you knocked it out of the park, we're not paying you any extra.
Yeah, procurement likes simplicity.
And then they're like, if you fail and you don't produce good results, we're cutting you off.
Technically, you can do this with the smaller, the SMB division, but the numbers don't map out there. I think you have to have the mid part.
He has mid-market.
Yeah.
That's what's working out really well. Because I know some of his clients, when it's enterprise, they don't do performance-based fees.
Which is fair. He'll take the larger, retainer, and that's fine. He's good with that.
Yes, but like, because I was talking about his pricing model.
I think he takes 25% of the lift or 30%. I don't know what it is, actually.
No, it's not a set fee like that. It's dependent on the size of the company, the volume, and the margins. Because let's say if you're selling protein powder, your margins aren't as good as, let's say, if you're selling software.
Yeah. So, by the way, that's another thing. When you get on a sales call, you don't just talk about your solution. You start talking about what their business challenges are and how their business works. It becomes a totally different conversation, and you can price differently according to that. Because now they respect you more because you're talking about their business versus just trying to sell them on like your software or your service.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I have this one over here. I actually think so. I've been nerding out on this. I've been showing you. I think, but I think the future marketing is going to look like online poker. So remember, I talked about this the other day. We were on a podcast together with HubSpot again, and the guy like showed up in and out like the last time we did a podcast with HubSpot. But that's a side.
No knock on HubSpot.
No, HubSpot's great. HubSpot's great. Yeah. So basically, I think the future of marketing is going to look like online poker. So I used to play 16 tables at once, right? I had one large screen, and then each like section had 4 screens. Yeah. So I was playing a lot, and I had a heads-up display showing me how aggressive each player was, how loose a player was, right, and what the win rate was, all this stuff, right? So I could see it for each player. And so to me, it was like playing a video game. I'm working more and more in a terminal, meaning I use Cursor and I use Claude Code and I use MCPs. And I have a WordPress connector, I have a HubSpot connector, I have a Ahrefs connector, a Google Analytics connector, a GSC connector, and I can query whatever I want and I'll get responses very quickly. Okay, what's the LTV of this? Can I make a landing page over here? Can I make a thumbnail that looks like what we have over here? Can I quickly get trending keyword data on what we should be targeting based on how my keywords have converted? What's cannibalizing? What should we be updating? What hasn't been updated for a while? I don't need to wait anymore. And so I think what's going to happen eventually is I'm just going to have a lot of these sub agents in Claude Code that you can set up. You just prompt it and it creates a sub agent for you. This is the worst it'll ever be, and I'm telling you, like I'm way more efficient now, and I just think not even just the future marketing, but the future business will be multi-instance because someone like you and me, we're just gonna have it open, and you don't want to wait. I don't want to wait.
No.
And boom, 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 and it's just done. Like, oh, this is done over here. Okay, here's the results. Okay, boom. Okay, you should do this over here based on these results. Okay, boom. And I'm just like running all these things, and it's like that. The guy, this online poker player, used to play StarCraft, 𝗖𝗛𝗢𝗓. He had like 48 tables open. He's like looking at it, right? There's a picture of him doing that. So I think that's what's going to happen.
I do think that's the future. In my office that my wife is designing, I was thinking about having a multi-monitor setup, like 16-ish or something like that, whatever ends up creating a nice screen. And each one was big enough, but they're all connected, and each one having different reports that is being worked on right now. Because I'm like, man, with AI, a lot of things are moving faster in my organization. I'm like, I want to see real-time data, but I want to see, data in real time and have tons of different screens all open at once. And I can just be in my office and look like what's working and what's improving every single hour or day and be like, cool, this one needs more work. This one doesn't. This one's doing fine on its own.
Which is what you're doing right now anyway. We're like hitting whack-a-mole everywhere in the company. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
That's the highest leverage thing we can do is to find the high leverage problems. That's how you do it, right? And so I've been posting about this, and I've probably introduced like 8 different people to my tutor. So he's good.
Oh, your AI tutor.
Yeah.
Like, what do you need a tutor for?
Dude, because main thing for me is I'm not technical. He helps me set things up, right?
No, that's what I get that.
And when he tries to teach me, I'm like, don't teach me. I like just like whenever I'm blocked, like let's just unblock me, and then I just open up my Zoom, give him remote control, and I go watch TV.
Yeah. But when you think tutor, I think of school, like kids' school.
Yeah. So when he starts teaching me, I'm like, damn it, don't teach me. Let me figure it out on my own. But it's been good. That's a super high leverage use of my time. Our mutual friend Yaniv uses it. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. How about what big companies are saying about AI and SEO?
I'm curious. What are they saying?
Okay. From Glenn Ossoff, here's what he said about public companies that are talking about AI and SEO right now. So If I can sum up the hours of transcripts I've listened to, he listened to a bunch of transcripts. I could read over the past few weeks, it would be this. Search traffic is down. We see opportunities in getting traffic from AI answer platforms, and we're preparing for that. Traffic from those sources is small, but converting better, which is what we've been saying, right? Where we can, we're making deals with platforms to enhance our visibility and that of our customers where relevant. We want to reduce our reliance on search by creating better relationships with our audience, growing on social media, and utilizing email and events. But we're by no means giving up on it, which is actually going to lead into your other topic that you have. We've had traffic challenges in the past, and this is no different. We also see AI as an opportunity to improve our processes and operations. And so this is a tough topic to comment on because on one hand, I feel ready and excited for marketing challenges going forward and all the opportunities that will be for those being proactive. So if you look at this over here, this chart, you can see Airbnb sentiments. They said that a lot of travel is switching from desktop to mobile and from Google search to social media. But you look at the sentiment, most of it's red. Right?
Yeah.
Red means bad, green means positive, right? So only 3 companies in here are green. New York Times, red. Vimeo, red. Wayfair, red. Wix, red. Like all these are heavily dependent on SEO. BigCommerce and Chegg have been hit pretty hard, I guess. But that's how it is.
Yeah, and we've started to see that companies accept traditional SEO again. We were in this period for, I would call it 6 months this year, where a lot of companies are still doing SEO, but they're just like, I don't know, I want to see what happens with AI. And they're starting to slowly accept that you still have to keep doing traditional SEO because A, it helps with AI SEO. A lot of the factors are the same. But B, a lot of the companies we talk to that are like, I don't know, we think it's going to be, drastically impacted by AI and it's not worth doing. And these are large corporations that have, the ones I'm thinking of 3 particularly, that have market caps over 10 billion. No joke. 2 out of the 3 came back in the last 45-ish days, talking about, hey, it makes up too much of our revenue. We still need to focus on it. We can't ignore it. And we need to start getting back into it. And how do we make up for lost time? I believe the third one will come back, but we're also seeing this on the SMB side, where people before AI SEO was a shiny object, and I still believe it is, but now they're willing to also come back and reinvest in traditional SEO because it's profitable and it drives a lot of revenue if you do it right.
Yeah, and we've been saying this. And traditional SEO isn't. It's a cigar butt thing. It's not going to die overnight. It's gonna slowly decline over time, but it's still very useful right now. And it's good to have our original skill still be useful.
I don't know if it's gonna die fully.
I don't think it's gonna die fully.
Yeah, I think it could shrink. And case in point was Mercedes. You saw all their ads that they did with the G-Wagon electric.
Yeah.
And remember how you introduced me to one of your friends to get a G-Wagon electric?
Yeah.
Because he owns a Mercedes dealership.
Yeah. Does he?
Yeah, he owns a Mercedes dealership.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what you introduced me to.
Yeah.
And you even asked, should you buy it?
Yeah. Because I saw one at the retreat I went to earlier this year. Yeah.
What's happening with Mercedes sales with G-Wagon electric?
It's nothing. It's tanking.
Yeah, and their marketing was, you saw the 360-degree videos where they literally had a Mercedes G-Wagon electric, and it can make a 360-degree turn without turning. So if you put it in a circle, it can stay in that circle, and all 4 wheels just move, and it just does donuts, but it's stationary.
Yeah.
Like think of like a can and just twirling it in your hands. It's stationary. That's what the G-Wagon electric can do, at least in those videos.
Yeah.
Even with all that marketing hype and it making it look really cool and a lot of people want to get one, it's not doing well. Why? They forgot one thing when they were doing their cool marketing. Do you want to guess what it was?
I couldn't tell you.
A lot of people buy G-Wagon because they like the way it sounds. The rumbling, the roaring.
Yeah.
A lot of people buy it for that. You don't get that with electric.
That's interesting. I don't know how true or false that is, but I will say...
No, I talked with a lot of people at the Mercedes dealerships, like at Fletcher Jones.
That's what they say?
Yeah, they're saying a lot of people buy the gas because they want the noise.
Yeah, I just don't know. I would say with my car, so when I had the Tesla before, electric obviously, I like that it was quiet, right? But then my Porsche now, it has a noise. There's a noise, right?
They manufacture the noise.
Yeah, but I like it. It's like, oh, this is cool. So maybe they forgot the noise, or maybe the noise wasn't good enough.
The G-Wagon electric, according to the guy I was talking who's high up at that dealership, he's like, that's what's hurting the sales for that car.
Interesting. So
in his opinion,
so I can get a massive discount for it. The thing is, they might not even make it anymore. Who knows?
I know they're making a baby G now, and I don't think that'll do well. It's not selling well in Europe, but you may be too late for the rebates because they're doing massive rebates before the government in the U.S. Went away with them for electric.
Oh, well,
But
whatever.
you asked, should you switch? And I was like, no, don't switch. Your Porsches, in my opinion, is better. But that's a problem with marketing. People want to focus on what's new and novel, and sometimes they forget what's important to the customer. And if you have something that's new and novel and you keep what's important to the customer, you can do well. But if you look at the G-Wagon and you forget what's important to the customer based on the G-Wagon electric sales, you will not do well.
Yep.
And Mercedes still claims that they do fine with the G-Wagon electric, but they bundle it in all together. And if you look at Mercedes electric vehicles, the secondhand market for them, they depreciate way faster. They're not worth it. People don't want them as much. And the reason being is the new sentiment for most car drivers is they prefer what Range Rover has, is the hybrid, in which you can drive on electric for up to 50 miles and the rest is gas. People love that model where it's hybrid.
I hate going to the gas station.
You do.
Yeah.
A lot of people prefer having the option of they want electric.
Yeah.
So if you're just doing city driving like you do, you never have to fill up.
Yeah.
But then if you're going to San Diego, you can fill up and you don't have to charge.
When I did Temecula, that trip out, the anxiety of not having enough electricity to come back, like I dropped all the way down to 5% when I got back. So there's
So at that point, you would prefer a hybrid.
Yeah.
But and most people who want the hybrid don't want it because they don't want to go to the gas station, but they want all their city driving to be gas free. But if they're doing a long trip to Temecula or San Diego or San Francisco, they don't want to go and just have to wait 15 minutes for a car to be charged.
That's true. And by the way, what we're getting at here is everything goes back to customer development at the end of the day, right? Like when we talk to our customers now on the carrot side, it's like I try to say, look, what are the other business challenges? Oh, it comes down to this. Oh yeah, we're trying direct mail right now. We're trying webinars. We're trying it sounds like you need more leads. That's what the challenge is. Oh, guess what happens? They're now a managed service customer for Carrot, right? So it's like, even though I'm introverted, or if you're introverted listening to this, it doesn't matter. You got to talk to your customers. Nobody's above that. Nobody's above that. Yeah.
It's all about talking to your customers. That's where the real revenue is.
Dude, so there's this one guy, Samuel Stroyschin or whatever, but he basically cut his entire team in Europe. And so he built this go-to-market product. They started growing, and then they started focusing on this. And then he realized one thing. So he offered everyone in his European team to move to the US, but nobody was able to commit. So family, kids, personal stuff, all reasonable arguments. So he basically had to terminate all of them. So he's like, what can we learn from this situation? Number one, distributed teams are disadvantaged in the age of AI. Async is nice, but sync is crucial if the world around you moves so fast. So as an example here, after my mom passed, I didn't go to the office as much. And then my CTO, he basically went to Montana for like 4 weeks, and then he went to Starbase, SpaceX, to check that out, right? But like we weren't in communication as much, and then we basically agreed that, his name's Sean. Sean and Eric in the office run circles around Sean and Eric working remotely, right? And it's just what it is. It's a trade-off, and I think this guy saw it too with his company, and all the people he had in Europe were amazing, but he's just like, they're just not, like, that 9-hour time difference, they're not going to move as quickly as I am, and he needs to see it change. And so this is going to just continue to happen, in my opinion, but I just wanted to call it out.
We have people in marketing that are in random cities because that's where a client's headquarters is within that region. And it helps the client move faster because that's where their office is. But we're not setting up an office of our own just for that client in that one region. When there's 3 people, they just go into the client's office.
It depends on the work that you're doing. So in that case, like but that's
they're going to the client's office
to help them work in person, right? So it goes back to in person again.
Yeah, but they're not going every day like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
They're more so going in whenever they need, and it works for them.
But that matters. It is you're paying for the in-person touch points. That's what you're paying for. So my take on this all, by the way, is I look at money, right? You look at money, for example. You like money, right? Money. I like money too.
Who doesn't love money?
I love money too. And so, but money doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. It just amplifies your nature. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree.
Okay. Now, if money amplifies your nature, AI amplifies your mind, positively or negatively. So if you're super anti-AI, it will make you it'll make you from one person to like you're a 10th of a person. If you're super into it, it's going to make you a 10x person or a 100x person, right? I look at this as, you look at electricity coming out, you look at flight coming out, computers, internet, all these things, and you hear the smartest people in the world. I think Bill Gates has said this, right? That AI is the number, like it supersedes all the rest of these inventions. And so in my mind, like I would say the vast majority of the people at my company are really into using AI and enhancing themselves. But you do have some people who resist. Oh yeah, you know, it's not going to do this, it's not going to do that. But I'm just like, dude, like this is going to be akin to not using the internet when you're working. This is going to be akin to not bringing your laptop. This is going to be akin to not using power tools when you're building a house. So you either choose to amplify your mind, or somebody that's enhanced with this is going to replace you.
Yep.
So
every time we bring up Microsoft, all I always think about is how Bill Gates would have been the first trillionaire if he
just had to Steve Ballmer it. He just had to hold on to it.
That's right. Steve Ballmer's worth more than him by a substantial amount because he didn't sell his Microsoft share.
I listened to a 3-hour interview with Steve Ballmer on this Acquired podcast because I wanted to hear this story, right? So when he became CEO of Microsoft, so obviously Bill Gates founded Microsoft. It was his baby. Steve Ballmer, very intense guy. They didn't talk for like a year or two because Bill didn't like how Steve was running the company. So they're like, were really close before, but then the wives eventually had to get them back together, right? Steve was really upset in the beginning. He was almost going to unload all of his Microsoft shares. He's like, it would have been a very different world had I done that. But he's like, I just wanted to, you know, clear myself of it. But, you know, I decided to stick with it like a last minute thing. It was like a hunch, decided to stick with it. And that's what, that little hunch led to where he is now.
Oh, so that means they're probably not good friends anymore.
No, they're friends. They talk again and all. The wives got them back together like after a year or two. The wives were like, what are you guys doing, right? Like, get back together. So they got back together, started talking again. And just recently, they were on a podcast. It was Satya, Steve, and Bill doing a podcast together. So
yeah.
So I thought it's
they should bring him back to the board of Microsoft.
I mean, I used to think he was like responsible for tanking Microsoft, but now I look at him like, no, he like did everything he could. This is when they had all the Justice Department and all that stuff on top of them, and they're fighting battles everywhere. And I think he did what he could, and Satya has taken it to the next level, and they all had their uses. So
even when Ballmer was running it, financially, the company performed exceptionally well. Yeah. The market wasn't valuing Microsoft to where it is on a multiple basis. But when Satya took over, they saw the vision, they loved it, and they started valuating them to more so what they should have been worth.
Dude, you look at Microsoft today, they got gaming, they got communication, they got cloud,
AI,
enterprise, they got AI as well.
How often do you use Zoom compared to Teams? Honestly.
I use Zoom a lot.
You use Zoom a lot?
A lot, yeah.
With clients too?
Yeah, but I'm going to churn off of Zoom. Sorry, guys. So I saw this thread on X. Everyone's like, yeah, F Zoom. Like Google Meet is so much better. I was like, huh. So I can save a couple grand a year. I'm probably going to churn off of Zoom.
Check this out. Did you know almost all of our client calls are on Teams?
I believe it.
And we use
client.
Teams, but all of our clients use Teams. If you are working in the enterprise world, everyone's on Microsoft. Zoom could be great. It could be better. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Just, dude, the majority of the world runs on Microsoft.
You know that enterprise lead that you sent for Carrot? And thank you for that. So they're like, yeah, go ahead and send a Teams invite. I was like, yeah, we don't use Teams. So I'm like, but I see it because it's just better to bundle everything, and it's cheaper that way. It's more efficient. So distribution, guys.
Wait, did you ever have a call with them on non-Teams?
Yeah. Well, no, we did it on Zoom. And so he's like, yeah, sorry. He was a little late, right? He's like, sorry, I had to download all these updates and all that. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Bye.